Welcome to 12 Gauge Investigative.
In the shadows where the truth hides deep, echoes of the lost and the secrets they keep. Cold cases burn in the back of your mind. We dig through the dark, one clue at a time. This ain't fiction, this is blood, this is truth. 12 Gauge Investigative, justice uncaged. We ask the questions they're too scared to say, shining a light where the guilty pray. From killers to whispers, we won't look away.
All right. How's everybody doing tonight? My name's 12 Gauge, and this is my channel, 12 Gauge Investigative. You know, I thought I'd come on early because those storm clouds are looking kind of nasty again tonight and don't want to get caught with no internet or no electricity, so I thought I'd come on. Can y'all hear everything okay? Is everything all right coming across? Because, the last thing I want it to be is not clear. Anyways, you know, there's a lot going on in the world today. I hope everybody's doing okay. I hope you guys aren't caught up in any of the mess that's going on in this world. You know, I was looking today, and Los Angeles looks pretty damn bad. I mean, it looks like there's a lot going on over there, and I'd hate to be over there right now. Also, there's been some stuff happening over in Las Vegas. It's like, man, it's all over. You just can't get away from it. So, what do y'all think about while we wait for people to come in here? Let's kind of talk a little bit. What do you think about that situation in Las Vegas? About those two YouTubers that supposedly got into it on the strip and ended up being gunplay at the end. You know what I mean? It's like, what in the hell is going on in this world? Las Vegas. Like I said, I've never been. I've always wanted to go. I just never have made it. It's just terrible. And the stuff in Los Angeles, I mean, it's starting to go all over. I mean, people are protesting the deportation stuff. I don't know what is really going on with that. I wish I could say I did, but I don't. So this weather was pretty damn bad last night. Pretty damn bad. We had two tornadoes that come to find out that went over here where I'm at. So it's like knocked out all the power, knocked out a lot of the city windows and all kinds of stuff. It was pretty bad. A lot of hail. My vehicle ended up getting kind of like a circular um, type of like this, and probably won't fix it till later on. Hopefully tonight it don't hail. Hopefully tonight it's just going to be rain and just a little bit of wind. I mean, we need a reprieve from all that hail. You know what I mean? And you're right. 700 Marines were have arrived in Los Angeles, and I believe that they've even put martial law into place. I'm not sure, but I believe that that's what's came about. So it's just kind of crazy over there right now. But I was looking at other areas of the country, and in Houston, it looks like people are starting to protest. Um, I know in Los Angeles they're burning vehicles and going against the police and stuff like that. I mean, I don't know um, why people are doing all this mess. You know what I mean? Laws are laws, but I think in this world today we have that mentality that it doesn't matter what people tell us to do. We're our own people. We're going to do what we want to do, and that's not a good state of mind. I mean, and that started a long time ago with you can be whoever you want to be, and don't let anybody tell you what to do, and all this stuff. I mean, that's not really healthy for our country or for anything involved with you know having law and order. Hey, Bullets, good to see you. It's been a while. Hope everything's going well. Well, let me go ahead and get started. Let people come on in as they will. Today I was kind of messing around and I stumbled upon this, and I thought, it'd be interesting to present this. Let me go ahead and turn this around. And if you saw this in the shorts or you saw this in the video that I made earlier, then you know exactly what's going on. Yeah, summer is here, definitely, definitely. So let's get started. Um, this right here it says Steptoe Apartments, 1 bedroom. So it's going to take us through the 1 bedroom apartment, and then it's going to go into the 2 bedroom, and then we're going to do a little bit of watching the rest of it, and then we'll watch the rest of what I was showing yesterday. Okay, and we'll talk about that. So here we go. As you can see, like it's really pretty plain. It's not fancy at all. I thought, it'd be a little upper level, but it's nothing really fancy. It looks like most of the efficiencies that I've lived in early on in my life. You know what I mean? And it has those old thermometer looking things on the wall, which is interesting, I thought. And there's the famous bathroom. Let me pause it. Oh, damn, I missed it. Let me pause it and let me know if that looks like the same background as the thumbs up picture. Tell me what you think about that. Give me your opinion. Does that look like the thumbs up picture background? Because um, you can see the towel holder. Let me go back and see if he was standing in any of the bathrooms. See, they look pretty basic. There's the towel holder, and as it goes, see, here's the toilet, and this looks like the bathroom. It looks like this is the bathroom. Like you enter the door, and here's the outer area. So I don't know how, unless he was standing in the doorway and took the picture. What do you think? I just noticed that. Tell me what y'all think about that. You notice the bathroom door? It kind of has a separation. The sink is on the outside of the where the toilet and the bathtub are. See, this is a doorway. So he wasn't that. If he was in a one bedroom, I know he's in a two bedroom. We'll have to look. But if the two bedroom is set up like this as well, then he was in the doorway taking that picture. He wasn't standing in front of the sink. If the two bedroom is just like that, tell me what y'all think. Tell me what y'all think. Does that look like the same tile that the picture shows? See, there's the towel holder. And another thing that I wanted to show you guys is these doors. Remember on those other photos, he was supposedly standing and these doors looked a little colored. He would have been standing right here taking that picture of him in the hoodie. Maybe those weren't taken in Pennsylvania like people have stated. What do y'all think? Let me pull up those pictures and that way we can, because I know I have them. Let me pull up those pictures and that way we can kind of cross reference. So look at those doors a little bit and tell me what you think about those doors. Are those doors too dark? Or do they look like they would be the proper color? I know there's a lag, so I'm not expecting y'all to answer all at once. You know what I mean? I mean, there are sometimes I forget and I'm like, what's taking them so long to answer? Good grief. You know what I mean? But I can't expect y'all to answer that quick. Let's see if I can find those pictures because I know I sent them to myself. But like everything else, you know, when you go looking for something, you have to wait a minute before 12 finds it. You get what I'm saying? Well, what did 12 do with it? Anyway, there's no hurry. It gives me time for people to walk in here and get situated and grab a chair and catch up with what we're doing. Anyway, those doorways, here we go. Let me see. Okay, it's hard to tell. Let me stop sharing that for a second and share these, and y'all tell me what you think. It's hard to tell because the way these photos are taken, see, I don't know how people assumed that he was in Pennsylvania just because there's a clock there. See, like the background of that? Yeah, it's hard to tell. I'm looking at the video, but it looks like the same color. See, these photos really don't do it much justice. That one right there is the only thing that you can see is the background and the color of the ceiling. But let's get back to the video. Let me see if I can find that other video or the other photo of the thumbs up. If any of you have that thumbs up photo, if you could just send that to me instead of me having to go search, that would be awesome. So you go from that. See, the walls cream colored like most apartment walls are. See, I would think he'd be standing like right there as he was taking the picture. But I could be wrong, you know. Hey JB, thank you for being here. I could be wrong. But to me that looks like where he's at. But I don't know how. I was watching another creator and she was saying, well, these were definitely taken in Pennsylvania because you can see the background, you can see the clock, you can see all this stuff. But I don't know how they got to that. I don't know how they got to that assumption. Let me keep playing this video. Tell me what y'all think. You think those pictures were taken at Steptoe, or you think they were taken in Pennsylvania? Okay, here comes a 2-bedroom. Okay, in the 2-bedroom apartment, obviously there's the sink, there's the mirror. So yeah, I could have seen where he took this in his bathroom if indeed this is what he had, a 2-bedroom. I think he did because one of the bedrooms was locked. See, you can see the sink, the spigot right there. There's the counter, there's the sink, and the mirror's back there, and the shower's back here. See, there's the doors again. I mean, I wish we would have been able to see like the floor or something like that. You know what I mean? I wish we would have been able to see the floor in some of those pictures. So here's a lot of these pictures are kind of, they're not the best, but let me show you the picture while you have it fresh on your mind. Let me get out of this. You saw the background of the bathroom. So you tell me, let me save this picture if it'll let me, and then I'll send it to myself in the email. That way I can kind of forward it instead of looking for it every damn time. So you see the background, you see the shower curtain, you see the towel holder. Does this look like the same kind of bathroom that we saw in the videos? Yeah, there's no bigger picture. Well, here's one. Wonder what the long crime. So tell me what y'all think about that. What do you think about the bathroom picture? Do you think the bathroom picture was indeed taken? Let me rewind it back over here. Because this is what this one looks like. This is the one bedroom. See, I mean, it does look pretty similar to me. It really does. And I'm not just saying that. You know what I mean? It's like the tile looks, I mean, if you were going to snap a flash picture, it would make this tile light up. So I believe that that was indeed taken in the bathroom at his steptoe apartment. As you walk in right there, that looks like a bathroom right there. Like this is the door, this is the little sink area, this is the towel holder, and which makes a lot of sense because on the other side of the shower and stuff would be the kitchen area, the kitchen sink and everything else. So this looks like one of the bathrooms. Hello, Virgil. See, there's a better look, so it does light up the tiles a little bit. It's it could definitely be right in front of this. This is the 2-bedroom one.
Seems like he's a night person, not do a lot of things during the day, but during night he's
Yeah.
very active.
Right.
To like clean the floor. Sometimes it's vacuum. It's very loud sound. So,
Yeah.
yeah, it's that's the thing. You know, I keep telling the journalists and reporters that is what we heard from the upstairs.
Yeah. But it was just he was a night person vacuuming or whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and yeah, even sometimes like in the bathroom wash and very late. It's not that not like what the regular time.
Yeah.
Very late night he would do this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So we got stuff, yeah, and many times.
Did you ever ask him to quiet down or anything? Or?
I actually wanted, but I didn't try.
Yeah.
And once when I met him, we just say hello. I just want to see, could you please keep it quiet because we work out during night and have kids and it. But I didn't do that. I think maybe because he just moved in August, maybe he need time to get used to.
Sure.
Things bad. She called me and asked me about the murders. I didn't know where she was going with it until she said that it was Brian Kohberger, and naturally I freaked out and called about 8 of my friends. My brother was really good friends with him. My other friend Brandon was really good friends with him. I'm gonna have a picture of him with him on the green screen as well. I'm shaking still, but anyway, let me show you. This is back. This is Brandon, the one I was just talking about. It's his wife Brianna. That's me. This was back in 2017. Obviously, that's Brian.
So you remember these interviews? The first one was, I think that was Anjanette Levy interviewing the lady that lived downstairs from Brian, and she was talking about how he was up at all hours of the night vacuuming, and how she could just hear a bunch of. Okay, let me turn them up if I can. Yeah, I think my sound is up all the way. I know that last one didn't have very loud volume, but these are taken, with interviews of the people that um that he had interviews with. This lady right here was one of his friends in Pennsylvania. This was one of the women that was friends with her brother was friends with Brian, and she took Brian to pick up some heroin one time, and he didn't let her know that. So she became extremely irate at him, and they stopped talking after that. This is her describing her seeing him again at a wedding, and I talked about this yesterday a little bit. So, um, I it's up all the way as much as I can. Let's see if this helps a little bit.
Still has the dead face that it's thighs. I don't know. But when I spoke to him back in 2017, he was clean. He was a heavy heroin user back in high school, and it was just nice to see the kid clean up. And at that time, he said he was doing security detail. I believe it was out of school, is what he told me. Um, but he seemed like he was better. Obviously, that wasn't true. Here's another picture from a party that we had at Brandon's house. That's Brian there. He used to be a bigger kid as well. But again, that's him. And then at the same wedding, I'm here, but he's back there. He was sitting at the same table as me and my mother. But he is back there enjoying a drink. I was sitting right next to him. We talked. He seemed fine. My mom sent me the old school yearbook. That was him. Brian Kohberger. That's him. He went to Pleasant Valley. Graduated with, I think, my friend Christopher, a year older, sorry, younger than me. This is when he nonchalantly decided to make me drive him around the Poconos for heroin, and I had no idea. I thought I was just doing a nice deed because he needed something, and it turned out things bad. She called me and asked me about the murders. Um, I didn't know where she was going with it until she said that it was Brian Kohberger, and naturally I freaked out and
Okay, that was obviously that's what I was. Thank you for that common sense. Um, this says during the discussion, Kohberger asked the neighbor who is not from the U.S. whether um, he could identify Kohberger's ancestral background. The man said. The neighbor said he guessed at Italy before Kohberger stated that he was of German descent. He talked about his ancestors, the 30-year-old neighbor said. He had some sort of DNA test. I don't know how he got to that point. It was just interesting to him. So, am I low or is the videos that I'm showing low? So, let me know before I go on because it's turned all the way up. I don't know why it's so low. Let's see if this one turned down. Can y'all hear me okay? Or is it just the videos that I'm playing? Let me sit here and wait a second. Okay, this one right here is the this one is obviously the text message that he sent to Christian Martinez. And it says, hey, you want to go to ETSI? I'm about to head over there right now. What's good? He says, hey, bro, nothing much, but I've had the flu all week. Sorry to, um, sorry to, sorry to feel better, man. Somehow I managed to avoid getting sick this semester. Thanks, man. Today I finally felt good enough to get back to class. So I think Monday I'll be 100%. That's good. Did you get the flu shot? Happy Thanksgiving to you and your family. And then he says, hey, thanks, man. Happy Thanksgiving. So that was Christian's interaction. Brian is the green. So it seemed pretty normal, his interaction, right? Okay, this says documents say state police collected a knife, a Glock 22 Generation 5.40 caliber gun, three Glock 40 caliber magazines, a Smith & Wesson pocket knife, a laptop, two black face masks, black gloves, a green leafy substance that was found in both the green container as well as the plastic bag. Additionally, authorities say they searched Kohberger's 2015 Hyundai Elantra and recovered swabs, gloves, boots, a shovel, and a pair of goggles. So, the reason that I put this in there because I've been talking about all this stuff, and I want your input on does this look like a person that would be doing something devious based on the mens rea that we've established about this individual? Does this look like a guilty mindset? Does this look like these type of things that the police collected? Would they be possibly used in a crime? I want you to answer that. That's why That's why I put this in here, because people at times they don't put in all this stuff. They just talk about it and then they act like, no, there's no way none of that could have been part of it. And that's why I've been talking about the little things rather than the big things that are going to point to the bigger picture. So if you were just collecting this stuff from the vehicle, what in this list sticks out to you the most? I know the gun does, but let's go past the gun. If you're thinking about the murder, the 1122 house, before and after, what sticks out to you the most? What would stick out to you the most in all of this? Please type that in the chat. I know the guns do, but what else do you see in these lists that would, as an investigator, would bring you to kind of think a little bit, well, that could have been used in the crime. Okay. 2 knives. What else? Knives, face mask, shovel. What else? Do any of you see the boots? There you go. Gloves, boots, shovel. All right. So if these boots have any kind of evidence on them, whether it be dirt from 1122, the shovel could have any kind of dirt from any area where a hole might have been dug. A pair of goggles, 2 black face masks, depending on what kind of face mask those were. If they were balaclavas or they were just kind of like the face masks that go around their mouth. Black gloves, that those were like the kind that you slip on in the winter, or if there were other kind of gloves. And why do you think? What do you think the green leafy substance would have been? Do you think it would have been cilantro, or what's your understanding of that green leafy substance? Oh, wait a minute. It doesn't say what type of goggles, but it could have been anything. Virgil for the win. He says weed. Yes, sir. That's what I believe too. Let's continue on. If you've been following this case at all, you know about the questionnaire that was this was put out at DeSales University. This was put out. People have made it sound like Brian was the only one that put this on Reddit, that he was the one who created this, and you're going to hear otherwise. Another thing that I want you to understand is listen to what they say about the crime house and what they say about the crime lab. Many people have said, well, Brian had the opportunity to go to the crime house, to the crime lab. He would have been able to understand what it was in order to clean a house, all that stuff. Listen to what is said, because it's quite interesting what they say about this.
Kohberger was learning remotely. The Masters of Criminal Justice online graduate program is virtual. On-campus labs or environments are not part of the coursework. The crime scene house isn't a part of the Masters of Criminal Justice program. What about him surveying criminals on Reddit?
Did you hear that? It said the crime house and the lab is not accessible to people online. So all those people that say he would have been accessible to those areas, that's not true.
With prompts like, why did you choose that victim before making your move? How did you approach the victim? The school says this kind of behavioral study was standard. And Kohberger wasn't working alone. All students enrolled in the Masters of Criminal Justice program are required to complete a capstone research project that is supervised by faculty. And 2 of Kohberger's professors are listed as co-researchers on the survey. There's no
Okay, did you hear that? He said 2 of Kohberger's faculty is listed as co-contributors. So that means that Brian didn't do that questionnaire on his own. It was done by him and 2 of the faculty. So all that stuff that people say about this is not true. It's not true.
argument that Kohberger was a standout at DeSales. A professor who recommended him for the doctorate program at Washington State University described Kohberger as brilliant and one of my best students ever. But O'Toole says studying criminology doesn't mean you'll be a better criminal than, say, someone who reads up on a murder case in the papers or listens to true crime podcasts.
The learning process is not unusual. It really depends on where people are looking for their information. Now, whether it's classroom training or following someone else that's committing the kinds of crimes that you do, does it make you 100% better at what you do? Does it make you 100% more successful? Can you still make mistakes? You can absolutely still make mistakes because there's a lot of emotion that goes into committing a crime. And when you lose control in a crime scene, then you're more likely to make mistakes and leave evidence. And they don't write about that in a textbook.
Coming next month inside.
Okay, I'll put this in there. Did y'all hear what she said? There's a lot of mistakes that go into committing a crime because it's an emotional thing. So they don't teach that in the textbooks. So you're gonna make a lot of mistakes. You're gonna leave a knife sheath with your DNA behind. Things like that. This says, letting y'all know this because I've been following this for a week. I've been brainstorming with a friend of Xana, and as we now believe that the killer was a man wearing all black and a mask. My source comes from Dylan, who she herself said she saw him quickly outside her basement window, and he didn't see her. She ran to Bethany's room because she was scared, but I don't think she knew the severity. Multiple friends have also said that Kaylee had been stalked 5 weeks ago at Winko's, and there may be footage there. And also, Kaylee, well, we've heard, excuse me, we've heard that Kaylee, the people that were supposedly stalking Kaylee at Winko, had been talked to by the cops, and they were just attracted to Kaylee. So that wasn't true. As far as Dylan seeing him out of the basement window, I don't know how true that is. I mean, we all thought that she saw him by her on the second floor. The killer seemed to have treated this as a hunt. Everything I've found, I've forwarded to the tip line. If there's like any of all information that you want to the authorities to know, I've been piecing a timeline of events since last Sunday. Initially, we didn't know whose blood we saw leaking out of the house, but after much research, I'd have to say it was most likely Ethan and Xana's blood. We know Xana went down fighting, possibly. This is about the AT&T 7 minutes, okay? This said the state filed nothing, noting that the AT&T records were not retained or given to LE, and AT&T submitted an affidavit stating the same thing. No one had explained why AT&T would lie. Their filing below is very clear. The 7-minute discrepancy relates to 2:47 a.m. to 2:54 a.m. when Kohberger was in Pullman before the murders. The car videos go up to 2:53 a.m. Faux data at 2:54 a.m. cannot inform an alibi, and the judge already evaluated it. It is irrelevant as Kohberger can easily be in Moscow, AC 10-minute drive. 30 minutes later, when the car is seen on video approaching the scene. Defense claimed that 2:54 a.m. data may show the car going south. This was also ruled irrelevant by the judge, and the PCA stated the car was going south in any case. Two roads to Moscow lie south of the car's location at 253. Its only importance seems to be for those who think a car can't change direction by turning or takes 3 minutes to do so. It says from 2:54 a.m. to 4:48 a.m. there is no exculpatory phone data that can help with an alibi. The defense filing notes phone data partial corroboration does not relate to the time of the murder. The locations at 2:54 a.m. and 4:48 a.m. obviate any alibi by placing Kohberger a short 10-minute drive from the scene before and shortly after the murders. The same defense expert, Cy Ray, who claimed TA data is crucial for accurate phone location, has testified in many cases about estimated location without using TA data. In a recent case in 2022, he testified to stalking, basing his estimate of a phone being within 50 yards of a house, 12 times from a cell tower. Info without TA data. Colorado versus Jones, 2022. In another case in 2023, he testified that a phone was at a shop also without using TA data. U.S. versus Reynolds, 2023. He marketed a software system that worked to locate phones without TA data. It uses cell tower handoffs. It is unclear why the Moscow case is different from the many cases he testified using TA data and requires TA data for location estimation. Ray also claimed the FBI used track system, which is then further puzzling as to why their location seems to be off mark. So here's the phone report to the network at 4:48 near Blaine, Idaho. Phone travels south to Genesee, west to Uniontown, and north back into Pullman. Phone has signal crossing areas where it did not report to the network after 2:47.
Roommates who survived were also likely asleep, but that they were in the basement. And when they woke up, they thought a roommate had passed out, initially calling friends over, who discovered a much more sinister scene. This morning, police in Moscow, Idaho, revealing for the first time.
I was wondering about that too, Common Sense, because I was thinking, well, did they see him again after Dylan went down to Bethany's room? I mean, I don't know. Or did Bethany see him and they got that misconstrued and put that on Dylan? That's a good thought.
That before a 911 call was made, the two surviving roommates of a deadly rampage that killed 4 students summoned friends to the off-campus home, telling authorities they thought someone on the second floor had, quote, passed out and was not waking up.
What I do know is that they woke up later in the morning. They recognized that something was amiss as far as they believed that the roommate wouldn't wake up. They called some friends. The friends came over. They called 911, and that's when the officers arrived.
Police say multiple people spoke with the 911 dispatcher before an officer arrived.
You have victims with multiple stab wounds. How does that translate to my roommate's passed out and won't wake up?
So I haven't seen the scene, and I'm not exactly sure what they saw in the morning. But what we believe we know is that when they woke up, they believed that the roommate was still passed out, wasn't responding, and they called some friends.
Responding to what?
I'm not sure.
Detectives do not believe anyone at the scene was involved in the crime. This TikTok.
Okay, so what's y'all's thoughts on that as far as what happened at 911 call? Do y'all believe that everything that was written in the documents went accordingly, or do you think that there was some kind of other way that would have happened? Share with me in the chat. Because I'm looking for that video right now. Do y'all believe that the 911 call was placed accordingly? Or do you believe that there was some misconstrued areas that the one thing I want people to know is we can look at this as step by step, or we can look at this as if certain information that we hear can either indicate how something went down based on not wanting to present their case to the public. You get what I'm saying? Like, do they want to give you enough information that, okay, we gave you this much information, we don't want to give you much more because we don't want everybody to have what we're going to go and present in court? Because, to be fair, I see that many people don't believe it. And kind of like you said, Virgil, you said coached, maybe, or rehearsed by DM. I mean, it could be. I mean, to me, it sounded pretty legit. It sounded like, they were talking based on what had happened. But also, this was an 8-hour difference. You know what I mean? You get what I'm saying? It was an 8-hour difference. So in 8 hours, you've texted your roommates, you've called people, you've scrolled social media, see what's going on. You probably went to sleep for a little bit. You woke up. You woke up 3 times upstairs before you even went downstairs. And then you wake up again. You call people over. They come over. They walk upstairs with you. You see Xana again laying on the floor once you saw her on the floor before. And she's still not waking up. So at that point, somebody goes to the room and they see obviously what's in the room. They tell everybody to get out. They call 911. Or I always get that confused. Do they just go to the room and then everybody leaves? They call 911. They tell them to go back inside. And then Hunter goes in there and looks again. And then he sees them and then he says, get out, get out, get out. And then everybody gets out. I'm always confused on the 2 times that this situation happened. Are y'all clear on how it happened? I mean, are you clear that it happened twice like that? Or do you believe that? How do you believe it to be, chat? How do y'all believe it to be? Because you know that they went out once, right? Hunter went with them. It was Hunter, Dylan, Bethany, and then Emily was coming up the stairs. Hunter went into the kitchen, grabbed a knife. Okay, so I'm thinking at that point, Dylan sees Xana on the floor again. Hunter goes, and then he tells everybody to disperse, like, don't come up here. And then they go downstairs, they call 911. The 911 officer tells them to go check on her again. So they go back upstairs, and at that point, they're waiting, it sounds like, on the stairwell while he goes in there. And then he comes back out and says, get out, get out, get out. And that's when the crying commences. I think that's how it went down. I believe that's how the document reads. Because I was always struggling with that. It's like, okay, he went up, got the knife, and then went down the hall. So he saw them twice. He would have been able to see into that room twice. Not only the time that he went the first time, but when he went back up there, when they went back up there, when the 911 call was happening, and the officer and the operator said, "Y'all go check to make sure she's unresponsive." Maybe they went through the kitchen slider. I don't know. That's a good thought. I mean, do you think that they went through the kitchen slider to maybe look and see if the person was in the backyard or something? Is that what you mean? I don't know why they would go through the kitchen slider, but I mean, no telling. How do we know they just weren't standing in the living room? We don't know that. But to me, I'm wondering to myself is what would make everybody just turn around, go back downstairs, call 911, and then come back into the house? Because in the PCA and everywhere else we've heard, it said this call was from the roommate's phone in the house. Do you get what I'm saying? It says that they were, let me see if I can, I don't want to get started on that whole thing right there because I would want to keep doing this one. But y'all help me out here. Got the knife for potential defense, maybe. You're right. You're right. So the first time, went in, Hunter's leading the pack. The girls are behind him. He goes in, grabs the knife. If they were standing in the living room, what would cause them to leave downstairs again, call 911, and then come back upstairs and then go back downstairs again? Weren't they used to entering the house through the slider? Yes, they were. They were. But do you get what I'm saying? It's like, what would make them? I'm sure it's in the documents. I'm not trying to create any kind of conspiracy here, but it takes forever to find all this stuff when they're talking about it. I'm trying to paraphrase it the best that I remember. So if I'm a little off a little bit, please, forgive me because, there's so much involved in this case. It's hard to be perfect on every aspect. You know what I mean? I just wonder what caused them to. Nina just texted me, so hopefully she'll come up and she can clarify a lot of that because she's like a walking computer. Um, but I know that. So maybe they didn't go downstairs 2 times. I'm not trying to confuse people. Okay. Dylan and Bethany are downstairs in Bethany's room. The documents state. They call Hunter to come over. Hunter and Emily. They come over. Okay. Um, they get there. They all go upstairs. Hunter grabbed the knife. From that point, the documents state that they can see Dylan again. Dylan sees Xana again. Okay. And for whatever reason, they go back downstairs. And at that point, they call 911. The 911 operator is talking to them. She tells them, go see if she's breathing. Go see if there's any sign of life. So she tells Bethany, I know, but we got to. You get what I'm saying? So they go back up there. Hunter's leading the pack again. Dylan, Bethany, Emily. Hunter's going down the hall while they're talking on the phone to the 911 operator. You can hear a lot of chaos, a lot of stuff going on. And then all of a sudden you hear, get out, get out, get out. Oh my God, oh my God. And they go back downstairs. And that's when she's asking about the defibrillator. That's what she's asking, if they have one, the police on their way, da 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 da. Is that a little more clear? I hope it is. I hope that's a little more clear. Okay. Let me see if I can find Jeff's 911 call. I'll play that and then I'll go with it, and then we'll go with what I got planned for. Okay? Let's do that.
a.m. 42 seconds, November 13, 2022. 911 location of your emergency.
Hi, something is happening. Something happened in our house. We don't know what.
What is the address of the emergency?
1122.
See, at this point, they've already came down. They've already came down from inside the house. They're already outside the house right now, okay? So they're on the phone to 911.
What is the rest of the address?
Oh, Kings Road.
Okay. And is that a house or an apartment?
It's a house.
Can you repeat the address to make sure that I have it right?
I'll talk to you guys. We live at the light, so we're next to them.
I need someone to repeat the address for verification.
The address, 1122 King Road.
And what's the phone number that you're calling from?
What? 3731.
And tell me exactly what's going on.
One of the roommates has passed out, and she was drunk last night and she's not waking up.
Okay.
Oh, and they saw some man in their house last night. Yeah. Hi,
and are you with the patient? Okay, I need someone to keep the phone, stop passing it around.
Can I just tell you what happened pretty much?
What is going on currently? Is someone passed out right now?
I don't really know, but pretty much at 4 a.m.
Okay, I need to know what's going on right now if someone is passed out. Can you find that out?
Yeah, I'll come. Come on, but we gotta go check.
See, right now they're going back in the house. They've already came outside. So they've already gotten a knife. They've already went through the first time and got the knife. Okay, so now they're going back in the house. She said, all right, come on, Bethany.
But we have to. What's wrong? She's not waking up.
Okay, one moment. I'm getting help started that way.
Okay, thank you.
See, he screams, Xana. So he's trying to wake her up. And then I guess he sees Ethan. And that's when he screams. You know what I mean? So at this point, we hear the rest. See, there was a long pause right there where they're standing there, and obviously he's either checking for pulses or he's looking around and he's saying, "Get out, get out, get out." But there's still, a, I would say, at least 30 to 45 seconds right there where there's nothing. You just hear her crying into the phone. So she's tripping out that Xana's not waking up. I mean, because Ethan yells at her. I mean, not Ethan, Hunter yells at her. She still doesn't move. Then he just says, "Get out, get out, get out."
Okay, and how old is she?
She's 20.
20, you said?
Yes, 20 here.
Okay. Hello? Hello? Okay, I need someone to stop passing the phone around because I've talked to 4 different people.
Okay, sorry, they just gave me the phone.
Is she breathing?
Hello?
Is she breathing?
No.
Okay.
Bethany, Dylan, I need you to talk to them, okay? I can't talk to them. They need you to talk to them.
Hello.
Okay. I've already sent the ambulance and law enforcement. Stay on the line. If there is a defibrillator available, send someone to get it now and tell me when you have it.
Say that again. There's a police here right now.
Okay. If there is a defibrillator available, send someone to get it now and tell me when you have it.
We don't have it. I think yes. Do you have a defibrillator? Yes, we have one.
So are you talking to the officer?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to let you go since he's there with you and can help you.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
Okay. 11:59.
Okay, so to me, that second time, let me make a slot for you. Let me make a slot for you. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Everybody in the chat, y'all know warning label.
Oh, they don't know who I am.
I wanted you up here that for a reason, because I was going over without showing any more stuff because I got to go on with my other stuff that I have planned. But the first time that Hunter, Dylan, Bethany, and Emily go upstairs,
Yes.
he grabbed the knife.
Yes.
What makes them go back downstairs? That's where I'm confused because they went downstairs and then called 911. Did they see Xana per the paperwork or what happened?
If I'm not mistaken, that's when he sees enough of her to make them go call 911. You know what I'm saying? And then when they're because I'll be honest, I think it was on your panel that I finally put it together because if you'll remember, I was confused because it was like they had put out the second part before the first part, and it had confused me because I was like, wait a minute, they're not matching up.
Right.
And
that's
so,
what, I mean, that's
yeah,
how
I finally realized that they got there at 11:50 and they didn't call 911 till what, 11:56, 11:58. And so where he goes and gets the knife is that 6 minutes before they call 911.
Okay.
But if you'll remember, it says that he came out, and so apparently while they're calling 911, he's coming out because they're talking about how he's just like white as a sheet and stuff like that. And that's when she gives the phone to him, and you can tell that he's just like, what am I doing? I mean, that he's sort of like kind of in shock, you know.
Right.
So I think he pretty much knew what was going on, but went ahead and came outside. And then when the operator says, can you check and see if somebody's passed out? And you hear Dylan say, I know you don't want to, but we've got to.
Yeah.
That's when they all go back in.
Yeah, come on, Bethany, we got to. Yeah.
Right. And I think that's when, and see, that's when my light bulb went off, was when she goes upstairs and she said, and I think it's the first part, and it says that she looked down and saw Xana and burst out into tears. And I was like, wait a minute, you saw her at 4:30 in the morning. Why are you just now crying? And I think what happened was when she saw her at noon, she hadn't moved, and it said, oh my God. And I think that's when it became real to Dylan.
That makes a lot of sense because in the paperwork she says, I felt like she would just like
Passed out or something.
Well, she never finished her statement. It
Right.
just like a bunch of dot. Like she didn't say dead. You know what I mean? It's like she
Right.
couldn't say the word dead.
But I think that, at 4:30 in the morning when she's scared and, what's that word that my daughter says? Discombobulated, just, and she's just running downstairs, that her brain has her convinced that she's just passed out on the floor.
Right.
But then at noon, when she sees that she's still in the same position, she's like, wait a minute, she's dead.
Yeah, I mean that had to really open her eyes a little bit because, like you just stated, she had not moved. She had not moved. So I was getting confused right here. I was like, okay, Hunter went in to grab the knife. They come out. What made them go back downstairs? Because they didn't call 911 that first time. They called 911 once they were all out of the house.
Right.
And then they come back in. Okay. So are we clear, Nina?
We clear.
Clear as mud. So how's your show going? You're on a little later than I'm able to stay up. You know what I mean? You're going
Well,
on it.
I was actually, that's the reason that I was checking in with you, because out of respect, if you're live or Daniel's live or something like that, I don't go live, and so I've got, finally what I learned, I was so proud of myself. You know how I was having trouble because they wouldn't upload and stuff like that?
Yeah.
As I realized that I was trying to upload them from Google Photos, and that, did I disappear?
Okay. No, you're still here. I'm just adding.
And I realized that they have to be like downloaded to the phone or to the, they can't be in Google Photos.
Yeah, no, they can't.
Yeah, and I was trying to upload from there.
That makes sense.
And so last night I finally realized, look, I had it so good last night. I was like, it was done in like 30 minutes. I was like, uh-oh, I might need to get more stuff now. And then I played, it all went south, but it's all good now.
Well, that's cool. That's cool that you're getting the hang of it. I wish that StreamYard had a little better stuff going on here than what we do.
I love Restream. And
Like
tonight's live is going to be pretty emotional.
Okay. Well, I can't promise anything.
Back to your live.
Yeah, I can't promise anything because, it's only Monday.
Yeah, school is more important.
Well, this is week number 10, so
I know it's getting close, ain't it?
one more week, yeah.
So was that your first tornado?
Not in my lifetime, but that's the most recent one that I've ever experienced since I've been older.
Well, I'm glad you're okay.
Well, thank you so much. I didn't have electricity all night long, so I didn't sleep very well yesterday, so I had to catch up a little bit today. Did you watch the live that I did yesterday on this guy?
Yes, I love that guy.
So I'm gonna finish this one up, and I'd like for you to comment as well because he's talking about a lot of the stuff that you and I have talked about in a lot of the lives that we've done. About the psychological aspect of everything. So let me move you over here closer this way. Maybe if I put
I'm
you.
down there in the corner all by myself.
Let me put you over here in a rectangle. Okay. You can still
Thank
see
you.
the chat. You can still see the chat. Nobody put Nina in the corner. Here we go.
Nobody put Nina in the corner.
Behavior for so long, and they want to fix it to the point where they try to justify everything that he's did. Oh, it wouldn't be him. He's a good kid. He's extremely smart. And what's interesting is when you look at, you know, Ted Bundy, Jeffrey Dahmer, BTK, Green River Killer, this guy, what you see are people that, from a parent standpoint, are church-going people, are calm and have a full-time job. This guy is a PhD student. So the parents, it would never register in their head, and it'd be very difficult for them to register in their head that their kid did something like that.
Susan or Caleb, I wonder if you guys have any questions for Jonathan.
Oh, this is right up Caleb's alley.
I know. That's why I invited
I mean, I was like, when I first heard it in the news and I heard like these young girls and there were 4 people, and I was like, how did he get to all of them? Like,
without somebody calling the police
in a
or
row.
something. Yeah.
Like, it was like, I thought maybe they were drugged or something, but it was even more sinister. But Caleb,
Well, they were intoxicated. I mean, I think these women were intoxicated. Most of the people, I don't know about the roommate, but I definitely, you can see it on camera that Maddie and Kaylee, they were intoxicated. The other two, Zana and Ethan, had been at a party all night. So I think that played a huge role in this, that the victims were intoxicated, and people just do not have a good grasp, and it's understandable, of what a knife attack is actually like. It's not like.
So we were talking about this yesterday, okay? And can you tell me, Nina, have you ever been in a fight while you were intoxicated?
Yes.
Were you as capable?
No.
As you would have been sober?
I got my ass kicked.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What happened?
Well, I mean, you know, you go to hit somebody and you're going to miss them because, I mean, your perception's off. I mean, you're not your perception, but you know, your hand-eye coordination, everything's off. I mean, you know, or you're falling, and then you're getting madder because you can't do what you want to do, you know, and so yeah, it's ugly. You don't want to fight drunk. Make sure you're sober if you fight, kids.
So if we're gonna talk about intoxication and how these girls were, you know, as we viewed them at the grub truck and as we viewed them, you know, in that video that we saw, and some of the, I mean, we really didn't see the video in the corner club, but as it's been stated by multiple people, they were not feeling any pain. You know, they were feeling all right.
Right.
So if that's true, then what position would you have been? Let me put this down because I've already done the rest of this on another live. What position would you be? Whoa. Hello.
I don't need to be bigger.
What position would you be if you were under the influence and somebody came in and caught you off guard? How would you be?
Okay, remember that I come with a warning label.
You know, you can say anything you want on this channel.
Well, no, because I actually said this on my live the other night was, you know, he knew what he was doing. He knew that he was going on a night when there would be partying, when they would be drunk, they would be incapacitated, and they would be in a weakened position. So if he thinks that he is Billy Badass and taking care of his little man syndrome by going in there and boo-hoo and, you know, being all hoorah, killing 4 people, I hate to tell him he's a chicken shit because of the way he did it.
Okay, tell me how you really feel. I mean, honestly, that's true, though. I mean, there's something to be said if they were awake. Many people believe that Kaylee could have overpowered this individual. I believe the opposite. I don't believe that Kaylee could have overpowered
even if Kaylee came in the room because she heard something, he probably attacked her as soon as she came in. Now, if she's laying there and they're both asleep and she wakes up to it and she's already been drinking, then she's double vulnerable. So, there's no way. And I'll tell you this right now, the only way he would have got by Ethan would have been if Ethan was passed out.
Right. I mean, that would have been a harder room in my perception, okay? That would have been my a harder perception for me to see that room being overtaken if Ethan would have been able to wake up, because if Ethan would have at least paused him long enough, then I could have ran for help.
Right. And
You know what I'm saying?
the kind of guy Ethan that I perceive Ethan to be, just based on his family dynamic and stuff, is if you're after his girl, you're getting a fight of your life.
But also think about this though, Nina. If you're stabbed, as we've talked many times, if you're let's just for assumption, you get stabbed right off the bat right there, or even in the groin area. You don't even have to stab him in the neck. If he's sleeping on his side, all you have to do is stab him in the groin area and he's gonna bleed out. You get what I'm saying?
Well, it was stated that two of them actually drowned in their own fluids, and
Okay.
I would take the guess to say that those two would probably be Maddie and Ethan, because I think they were passed out or asleep.
Well, I agree with that. So let's say he gets his artery sliced. It would have been depending on what side he was sleeping on, right? Let's
Right.
say he's facing the wall. He gets sliced right there. We've seen videos where it takes nothing but a limited amount of time before you bleed out. There's no fighting, there's no waking up, screaming, there's none of that.
And I
Right?
mean, everybody talks about one person killed 4 people. Okay, yes, he took 4 lives. He
Yeah.
only fought 2. He took the chicken shit way out on the other 2.
I mean, Maddie was probably already passed out. She probably never even felt it. If she did, it was very brief.
And let's pray that's true.
Yeah. Kaylee, I would say that she would have tried to fight back, but I don't see a lot of fight coming from
Well,
her.
it's like Texas said. He said that he thinks that she was already in the room. Even at that, she was in the corner on the other side of the bed. So fighting back was going to be limited. She was already in
Well,
a down position.
even if you're doing this,
Right. She
to
was
keep
already
him
in a
from
down
hitting you
position.
in the face, what does that leave wide open? Your body, right?
Right.
So if somebody's stabbing you, you lower your hand to try to protect that area, and bam, there goes your face.
Right.
Do you believe that witness that was subpoenaed, the boxing instructor, you think that he's going to have much to say about Kohberger in any direction?
Well, see, it really surprises me because he's a defense witness.
Right.
So,
So what?
I was really expecting the ones from Pennsylvania, I was really expecting to be for prosecution. So it sort of kind of surprised me. But, I
So
mean,
what do you think he's going to be testifying on?
well, I think that he's going to testify, I don't know, because kickboxing takes dexterity, which they're saying that he struggled with. Kickboxing takes strength and it takes discipline, which, he can't tie his shoes. So, they're saying that he doesn't understand those things.
Right.
And so I was really, that's the only one that really confused me as far as being on defense.
I mean, that's an interesting witness. And what if he just stated, because on the defense, let's say that you're not arguing that Brian is incapable of fighting as good as he was. Okay, let's say that he comes up and he testifies, hey, he was a good fighter, he was agile, he was this and that and the other. But you also, then the prosecution comes in and cross examines and says, okay, well, he was good at fighting. Would he have the capability? It's almost like setting him
You
up
know
a
what
little bit.
though? You may be onto something though, because we don't know that he was good. He may have sucked. And he may be going to testify. Look, he sucked at boxing. He couldn't even stand up without falling over.
That's what Texas just said. He's gonna say he sucked at boxing.
Because, well, I mean, yeah, but what I'm saying is it may go for the defense that he didn't have the agility and the stuff like that for the kickboxing because he was so off balance and stuff like that. I mean,
So
all it says is that he did it. It doesn't say that he was good at it.
so if he sucked at boxing, what the prosecution gonna say to turn that around in the eyes of the and in the eyes of the jury? What could the prosecution say to turn that
Well,
around?
number one is, did he suck at boxing because he lacked discipline and the practicing and the exercise, or did he suck at boxing due to any kind of mental incapabilities?
Right on, right on. Did he
Yeah,
suck?
I
Did
got an
he
A plus.
did he suck because he was uncoordinated? Did he lose stamina quick? Was he, you
Right.
know,
You can't tell me the fool lost stamina quick. He ran 6 miles.
right? I mean, I don't agree with them trying to paint him as feeble as they've been trying to do so in the documents.
Hey,
You
I want
know,
you to go and try to write a backwards 5 upside down.
I could probably do it.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, to me, being a little boy, that would take some talent. So, and I mean, that's stuff that you grow out of.
I
I
mean,
mean, my daughter used to say calculator instead of calculator, but she grew out of it. Doesn't mean that at 36, she's still running around calculator, calculator.
right. I believe that, on your statement, Bo, I believe that he had the K-bar knife with the blade up, with the handle in his fist, and he used it almost like a row of quarters. If you put a row of quarters, boom, it's gonna do some damage, right, Nina?
Right.
And that K-bar has a pretty durable handle, as we saw in one of the videos. You know what I mean?
Okay, somebody in the chat saying more than 40 times. Nobody has seen an autopsy. Nobody has seen any kind of report as far as stab wounds. I don't think I have ever heard anybody of any kind of authority state how many times any of them were stabbed. And I do know that it was said that that Kaylee was stabbed 54 times. Now, I don't know where that originated from, but
Right,
I don't think that it was somebody of authority.
right. Well, I know this is your first time in the chat, Virgil. I know that person, and I want you to understand we're not talking in the avenue of guilt or innocence, and we're not even trying to make him a killer. We're just merely just talking. I know that it sounds like, we made up our mind, but, I believe he's guilty. I believe he's guilty. We're going to see at the trial. All of us are going to see at the trial. But what we've been given is substantial document that kind of go along the way to show a lot of different avenues. And that's what we discuss here. Because if we get into the guilty or innocence, we're just going to be fighting. And I don't like to fight on my channel. I really don't. You know what I mean? I know that there's been some situations recently, but I don't like to fight on my channel. I like to do as we're doing and have a good chat, have a good discussion. You know what I mean? Because that's all it is. It's just discussion. You're
Well,
more
I
than
mean,
welcome.
that's if we're going to discuss the perpetrator, he is the one in the defendant chair.
Yeah.
He is our only reference of a perpetrator. So if we're going to study what would make a perpetrator do that, he is our only reference to go.
Who else was called for the who else was subpoenaed from Pennsylvania?
I know. Hang on, I'll tell you. I've got all of them and what they did. I know one of them was his advisor.
So wasn't there some Washington State
Oh yeah,
subpoenas as well?
there's 16 of them.
And are those for the defense or the prosecution?
Oh, I think those are for the prosecution.
So as I was reading in the book, John Schneider and the other guy, Willits, I think his name is or something, they're obviously going to be testifying, right? I'm sure they're going to be subpoenaed because they're the ones that sat with Kohberger during the disciplinary plan that they put in place. And they met with him the second time before they got rid of him.
Right.
You remember that?
Yes.
Okay. You're welcome, Melissa.
I'm looking.
Thank you for being in here. Thank you for being in here. Hey, Jeff H. So let's talk a little bit about subpoenaed people, okay? Because there's some people that don't really realize the extent of you being subpoenaed to be a witness, whether it be for the defense or for the prosecution. Do you understand the rationale between being subpoenaed to testify for the defendant via the defense or the prosecution?
Do I understand it? Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So if I'm being subpoenaed for the prosecution, am I for or against the defendant?
You are not either one, but you have knowledge that could help either one. It's according to which one subpoenas you. If you get
Okay.
subpoenaed by prosecution, it doesn't mean that you're like, hey, I want to go testify for the state. It just means that you have some knowledge that could help their case.
Right, because
You may not even want to be involved.
you know what, we really don't know how many questions are going to be asked. It could be like, hey, have you ever known Mr. Kohberger? Yes. Do you see Mr. Kohberger in the room? Yes. Have you ever had any interaction with Mr. Kohberger? Yes. What was your interaction and how was his demeanor? You
Right.
get what I'm saying?
Right.
So the defense, their witnesses are going to be able to be character witnesses, right? To paint that character that none of us seem to know about, right?
Right.
These are going to be the people that say he was a great person, he was quiet, he was friendly, he was motivated, he was driven, all that stuff. They're going to want to paint that picture, right, for the defense.
Right. Okay. So we've got Jesse Harris, which owns the boxing gym, and they're requiring his testimony for 2 days.
Mm-hmm.
You've got Maggie Sanders. She's required for 2 days.
Okay.
And she is from Pleasant Valley School, which is where he got kicked out of. And so that one sort of surprised me.
Yeah.
But she may just, for the defense, it's going to go more towards, maybe she wasn't involved in any of him getting kicked out, but she knew him as a student.
Right. Mountain Mama said I had to testify in a case. I was subpoenaed by the prosecution. I hope I never have to do that again. Wow. That bad? Huh. Thank Jeff. I've had to testify for like against the parents in a CPS case, and that was pretty intimidating because the parents are, looking at you, glaring at you like you better say something good, but I couldn't, because they weren't complying.
Hey, I
So
do have something. I do have something that I want to add, just because I think that it's adding. Whammo! Hang on, I got a red nose pit. I got a red nose pit in between me and the table. Hey,
make sure
Randy,
make sure
Randy, you're not.
he does not knock anything over, Nina.
Honey, he's knocked my phone off and he's standing on it. So y'all are in the floor right now.
What?
Yeah, he knocked my phone off. Okay, do you remember when they were doing the whole subpoena with Bethany Funk, and they put in the paperwork? They put in the paperwork that if she comes to Idaho, she won't be arrested.
Right.
And so that became this big story that Bethany must have warrants for her arrest or something like that. Okay. So this is Uniform Act to secure the attendance of witnesses from without a state in criminal proceedings. Okay. This is the steps and everything that they have to make sure of when they're summoning somebody from out of state. And one of them is Section 4, exemption from arrest and service of process. If a person comes into this state in obedience to summons directing him to attend and testify in this state, he shall not, while in this state, pursuant to such summons, be subject to arrest or service or process, civil or criminal, in connection with matters which arose before his entrance into the state. So it is nothing but they have to secure that person to get them to come back. It does not mean so. I think that was worth clearing Bethany. That's the reason it was in there.
I mean, for whatever reason, Bethany has a lot of trouble being unfrozen, so to speak. Even in the 911 call that we just listened to, she said, I know, Bethany, come on, we got to.
Right.
Bethany didn't want to go back in that house.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? She didn't want to come back to testify in the grand jury hearing, right?
Right.
That's what
Right.
you're reading right now. So,
yeah, but I mean, everybody wanted to say, because they put it in there that she wouldn't be arrested or anything, that she must have warrants and, make her out to be some kind of person that's got warrants and everything.
right,
And
right.
I think what's the wording for it? Boilerplate.
Yeah, boilerplate.
Yeah.
And I think where they got that was from her DUI arrest, supposedly. You remember that?
Right.
And I think that's where people put that plus this equals that.
Right.
But no, she
And
wouldn't have
Texas
been. She
said,
wouldn't have been arrested. She wouldn't have been arrested for anything that we know of.
see,
Even if
Texas said, I never saw a warrant for BF. That's just it. If she didn't have any warrants, that
right,
is just typical wording for someone being summoned to come into another state.
right, exactly. I mean, these subpoenas are a big deal. I mean, when they
Yeah,
drop,
they have to, like, okay, this got sent to what is it? Stroudberg. Anyway, they have to actually go to court, and the judge has to say, y'all will have, y'all will go. Because if the judge says,
yeah,
no, you don't have to go, it's in his state. They don't have to go.
yeah. But I don't see the judge in either location saying, "Hey, I'm going to give you a pass." Pretty
Yeah,
much,
but what
they'll
I'm
probably,
saying is people don't realize that there are steps that have to be taken for that person to be summoned.
and that's what the whole process is. It's a procedure.
Right.
There's procedures. You know what I mean?
And As a matter of fact, I may post that on my community page so people can read it.
Yeah, that might be something good. While you're
Yeah,
up
because I
here,
mean it's actually 3 pages.
we do have a good question. Bo asked, why would these kids be afraid? The killer is Brian. He's in jail. That's a good question.
Probably because they're traumatized and they don't want to be in the same room with him. And I think that's the reason that they're thinking about letting them testify on Zoom.
Yeah, I mean, or I, I don't know about that. I mean, there's been other cases they could put him on that. If he's right directly in front of them, they could put a covering where, or the attorney could stand in between them. You know what I mean? Like other
Right.
cases have never shielded the witnesses from testifying. So I
And
don't.
if you think about it, Gage, they know everything that's been said about them.
Yeah. And you know what else is they're older now. They're not 19
Right.
anymore. They're not 20 years old. What would you say? They're about 22 by now?
Yeah.
So they're older. They might not have the same feeling they did back in the grand jury. Because can you imagine having to testify and not knowing if you're going to see this guy while you're testifying? You're trying to remember everything. Um, Actually, we'll Dylan for not calling. Oh, Leslie. Oh, Leslie. There.
Nina, they actually was going to charge Bethany and Dylan for not calling 911, but they got with the girl's attorneys, and that was the thing the girl. I don't believe that. I don't believe that at all.
There are many other students that know what happened too. They're
I
afraid of
love you,
God.
Leslie. I love you, Leslie, but who the heck you been listening to?
I heard you say last night to her, Leslie, for the love of God, stop listening to those crazy
I
creators.
told her I was going to start putting her in timeout.
Oh,
I'm going to make
damn.
her. I'm going to make her a list of the channels that she can go to.
I mean, I think we take the word afraid out of context in this case. There's fearful, and then there's being afraid, and then there's being deathly afraid. You know what
Right.
I mean? If they're afraid, I'm sure they're afraid of what they get right now. All the hate that they get for not calling 911, for not being more efficient in saving these girls' lives. Can you imagine? It's finally, I mean, even though it's still riled up, it's nothing like it was when this case first hit. You get what
Right.
I'm saying? I
Yeah.
mean, Dylan was being raked over the coals every couple seconds.
Right.
Bethany, for whatever reason, has never gotten as much heat as Dylan. And I think that's what, if it was me, I would be afraid that all the therapy that I did and all the stuff that I'm getting myself better, grieving my friends, all this stuff, and then all of a sudden here comes the attacks again.
It came from what attorney, Leslie?
I don't know if
She said she needs that list.
it sounds like that. It sounds like Leslie. We're gonna give you that list. But common sense says there's more here than we have heard, and Bo does know. Hopefully we do get to the point in the trial that we do get our questions answered. Leslie, I know who you watch. I know everybody you watch. And
She's grounded.
she is grounded.
Just remember, Leslie, when you get grounded, it's because we love you.
Maybe Court TV, Nina. I've never heard that on Court TV, Leslie.
Leslie, I'm going to need that link, please.
I know, Bo. I got that. Bo knows. Bo knows baseball. Bo knows football. Yeah, I've never heard that, Leslie, but I mean,
By the way, Leslie, I sent you an email giving you that list.
y'all leave y'all leave Politan, or y'all leave Leslie alone. That's my buddy.
Vinny's still taking super chats. Wow.
Speaking of super chats, how about somebody give me a super chat? No, I'm just playing. I'm just playing. Can you imagine that coming out of my mouth, Nina? Of these
Oh, I
years
know.
and a half, I've never begged for a super chat one. Nothing.
Did you know the other night somebody said, "Hey, what's your PayPal or your Venmo?" And I was like, "What? What?"
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting, I don't even think of that stuff while I'm doing a live. Leslie usually hits me up and I'm like, oh my God, who's that? Oh, it's
Well,
Leslie. She just gave me $5. Thank you.
I mean,
It's like,
I've got my Venmo QR like up in the corner at the top, but I don't
yeah,
advertise it or anything. It just sits up there, And I mean, but that I'm not monetized, and I can't get monetized until I get the hours to get monetized.
yeah, I know. It takes a
But
while. It
that's
takes
all
a
right.
while.
I'm streaming along here, so they're watching me too. Look, there's you go.
Oh,
It's super
look,
chat.
there she goes. There she goes. Here's your super chat. Bite me.
Boy, I tell you what, those other channels are going to be mad when they lose that.
Oh, thank you so much, Leslie. Thank you so much.
And that's the thing about it is, oh, see, don't even get me started because Leslie is such a sweetheart. I mean, so don't even get me started.
Yeah, that show was going to be last night, and God said no, not
That's
tonight.
right. That's right.
God said no, not tonight. I'm going to take your electricity. I'm going to take your internet. I'm going to take everything.
You ain't going to do it, Jade. You ain't going to do it. You ain't listening. So by God, here's you a tornado.
Hey, you know, Nina, as well as I do, early in recovery, sometimes it takes a house falling on you
Hell yeah,
to
because
see the
you know,
sign, right?
Nina, are you gonna hit rock bottom? Hell no. Give me another shovel.
You know what I mean? You
Yep.
know what I mean? Yeah. But yeah, it wasn't meant to be last night. I'm sure if it continues on, it'll happen. But if not, it's really not worth my energy. You know what I mean? They're
Yep.
irrelevant. Kind of like people say about the PCA, well, these people are irrelevant to me too. Look at this. God forced you into that soft dancer last night. I bet you were seancing and everything else, praying over candles.
Jeff,
Because I had called Jeff and I said, Jeff, you want to come up on panel? We had to talk about it. And, he's like, well, just know, blah, blah, blah. And
yeah,
look what
Gage knows. I don't even question. Yeah, I'm there.
well, Jeff was there. I just wasn't there. You know what I mean? Texas said, you ruined my day. Well, let's
But
keep going.
that's the thing about, and actually, it's so funny that you didn't get to do yours because mine is sort of kind of in that direction, but a softer approach.
Here's a question for you, Nina. When are you going to do a show about morphometric
When
analysis
when I learned how to say it.
after the insulation and contrast medium? Good God, Truth.
No, seriously, I'm gonna tell you, I did the research. I've got the research, and that's some interesting stuff.
Well, I'd like to learn. Maybe after I get done with school, I can dive into that.
I mean,
Ever since you asked me
that
about
stuff
it, I've
that
been
you
waiting for it.
what I want to know is, did Idaho do that? Because if they did that, man, the stuff that you can get out of that.
Isn't that's more than the X-raying, right? That's
Oh hell
kind of
yeah, hell yeah.
okay.
Hell,
Okay.
it basically lights up on the screen that it was one K-bar knife and one perpetrator. I mean,
Okay. All right.
I mean that's how in depth it is.
So, Nina, let me ask you because this is this has been going on in the chat. There's been people talking about it. And you know how I feel about this case, so nobody questions how I feel about it. I believe the person is guilty, and I believe that they got the right one, and the jury's going to have the final say, not 12. So, do you believe that there was?
12 jurors.
Do you believe that there was more than one killer?
No.
I want to hear. I want to hear your point.
No. No, there was one killer. He's in the defendant chair, and that is my opinion. And I can say that because I'm in the state of Alabama, and I have no impact on that case.
Okay. So let's venture a little bit to their side of the coin, just a little bit, just for the sake of conversation.
Let's role play.
How do we get to that point that there would be more than one killer?
Well, I can see that. I can actually see that.
Okay.
Because the wounds don't match.
Okay.
And, if the wounds don't match, then there was more than one weapon and more than one person, right? Well, if you take that and you look at it in another way, a person that's laying there passed out and gets stabbed is going to be different from the stab wounds that a person gets that's fighting. The person that's fighting, the stab wounds are going to be different if the blade has got twisted, if there's a chip, if it got chipped, if it dulled, anything like that can cause those injuries not to match.
Okay, but you and I have talked about the discrepancy of that statement. The wound do not match.
Right.
It is my belief that when he said that, he meant the facial wounds on Kaylee did not match the same wounds that were on Maddie. Maddie
Right.
didn't have any beatings.
Yeah, I
Kaylee
totally
had the
agree with
beating.
that.
So as far as the stab wounds, I'm sure the stab wounds matched. There was large tears. There was large, like the coroner said, there was a lot of carnage. But I believe that whenever he's talking about the wound don't match, Kaylee had the beaten face while Maddie did not. That's why Kaylee had different wounds than Maddie did.
And another thing, wounds not matching, if he did what they say he did to Ethan's legs,
Yeah,
the wounds wouldn't match.
of course, of course. So in two rooms, there's two different type of extremes, right?
Right.
There's Kaylee being her face beaten in, Ethan having his legs carved.
Right.
That's a lot. That's a lot of anger and rage, right?
Yes, and I believe that, okay, you have to admit that, and I'm not at all going to the incel thing, okay? I don't believe he's an incel.
Okay.
But instead of being total 100% incel, let's say that he does have some incel traits, okay?
Okay.
And you can't tell me that Ethan is not the epitome of a Chad.
But also, let's stick with the wound. We're going one way or the other here. Okay, let's stick with the wound.
Man, you always reel me back in.
I do, because you just went way out there and you're like, it's hard to reel in that big fish out there, you just gotta
Fat joke.
So those wounds not matching, it's fairly easy to understand now that the father has said that, about his daughter. And it's fairly easy to see now that we know what really happened to Ethan according to Dateline, right?
Right.
So those wounds not matching, it's pretty logical that you walk in one room, this one's not beaten up, but this one is. This one's not doesn't have any carvings on her body at all, but this one does. This person took the time to go the extra mile on these two victims. So were they singled out at that point where they were hurt because they were there, because Xana and Maddie didn't have those kind of wounds. And Xana was, he could have done that to Xana as well. Do you believe that Xana watched Ethan die?
No, yes. I don't think that she was conscious enough to know that she was watching, but I think she died after him.
You think that's where the crying and the whimpering was?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So one thing that's always confused me, all right? This has always confused me, and I've tried to make sense of it. When it says she heard whimpering and crying,
Right,
and then she heard, "It's okay, I'm here to help you."
right.
And then the thud, and then the dog barking. So was the killer still, in your mind, was the killer still in the room, or was he walking out and then turned back around and went back?
Well, see, the way I think it happened, I think Xana was first. I don't care what Dateline says. I think Xana was first, and I
That's
know
why
better
she's
than
wanted,
Dateline.
label. That's
I
why
know
she's
more
wanted.
than Dateline, so Anyway,
Okay.
I think that Xana was the first attacked, but the last to die.
Okay.
And so I think that he attacked her and then went and took care of Ethan. And that's the reason that it said that he didn't have to go upstairs.
But stay with me here.
Okay, I'm getting to that. Hang on.
Okay.
I'm a little long-winded, but I'm going to answer your question.
Okay. All right. Go ahead.
So he goes upstairs and he does that. And as he's coming back downstairs, he hears whimpering and realizes that Xana is still alive. And as he goes into the room and faces her, he says, "It's okay, I'm going to help you," giving her that false hope of he's not going to do what he ends up doing.
So when we hear the thud at 417 that we heard in the Dateline video, do you believe that that was Xana hitting the floor, or do you
Yes, I
believe
think
that
that's when it all ended.
the 417, the thud, and then the dog start barking?
I believe in my heart of heart that was the end of the atrocity.
Oh, I hate that word. So, okay. All right. And then he went and got in the car
And left.
and teleported out of there, right?
Yep. Beam me up, Scotty. I'm out of here.
Yeah. Okay. So the Elantra speeds off.
Yes.
Almost hits a guy.
Yes. Did they say it was a guy?
A person.
Maybe he almost hit Murphy.
It was a person. Okay.
Oh, it would. Okay, so it wasn't Murphy.
Oh my God, I hate being so correct. Having to be so correct. You know what I mean? But that's true. That you've been around here long enough that you got to be.
You notice I don't
clear. You
and
got to be
I will
clear.
de-
Or
I
people are
will
going to be like, 12 Gate said that it was the guy he almost hit.
I will definitely speak facts out of respect of being on your panel, but I really don't give a shit.
Well, me either. But so he's taking off at 420.
Yes.
Is there any other reason for a vehicle such as that to be leaving the neighborhood at such a high rate of speed?
Well, the white car that's green is obviously a drug dealer, so he was obviously late meeting his client, so he was speeding out of there to go deliver his drugs.
Well, hold on a second. Get back to your logical answer, then you can go there.
Okay, no, there's no reason.
Okay. I mean, there's no reason for that vehicle to be leaving on camera at a high rate of speed.
Okay, so let's do this. Let's go to MPD and tell them that we want 3 months of camera footage at those exact times. And let's see how many cars speed off at 4:20 in the morning.
Now you're getting it. Yeah. How
And if
many
there if
vehicles?
there's another car that goes speeding off at 4:20 in the morning, I will acquiesce.
Or any time of the morning, Nina? Any time. Any time of the day. Is there
Right.
any vehicle that could resemble that car taking that route? Well, my thing is, there's no reason for that vehicle to be circling the neighborhood like that. There's no reason. And I mean, people say, well, it could have been a different car. Coulda, woulda, shoulda.
Could have
How many
been.
how many vehicles were out at that time of night that resembled that vehicle? I understand there's a lot of Elantras, but there's not that many at that time. I mean, unless everybody got together with an Elantra and was in the Elantra club and said, "Hey, we're going to go cruising around the university. Let's go." That's some movie stuff right there. You know those movies where they all have the same vehicle, and then the one that's being chased goes into a garage, and then on the other side, all the vehicles disperse, and the cop don't know which vehicle is
That's
the
what it
perpetrator.
was. That's exactly what it was.
I'm just asking you though, is there any reason
No.
that
No.
car should have been circling that house?
I mean, I'm not going to say it's common sense because I will not insult people like that. But if you think about it, let's take it and break it down like we do all the time for those that haven't really thought about it. I mean, you're talking how many white Elantras driven by a single person that is male, that has his phone turned off, that is circling the neighborhood 4 times, that speeds off at the exact times. Phone comes on south of Moscow and goes back the next day. What are the chances of all that? Oh, but let's don't forget, by the way, their DNA shows up in between two dead girls.
Right. Virgil, there's a video in my library. Go watch it. It's of the Green Elantra. We discussed this in there, so you can go check that one out if you'd like. Let me know later on um, what you think of that video, because Nina and I were on that video, and Jeff, and we all that was the infamous night when we were
Oh,
talking about the Green Elantra. It
and
has a lot of great stuff on that video. Okay.
but Virgil, I'll save you a little bit of trouble. That video that you're going to watch of Gage's in January of 2024, CJ, the guy that we were watching his video, he actually comes out and he explains that a woman drives that green car. And this is in January of 2024 because he was in Moscow for the 1 year anniversary. That car was there. He would see the lady come in and out from work every night. He actually went as far as to call the Moscow Police Department because people were trying to tie that car to it and tell the police department, this is a lady that drives this car. She has nothing to do with it. Please watch out for her to make sure that nobody tries to harass her. So that green car was debunked in 2024.
I mean, once again, it's not
No,
about
2024.
once again, it's not about being right or wrong. It's not about guilty or innocence. It's about just understanding it the way, everybody has a different way of viewing life. I mean, that's just a given. If we were all the same, then how boring would that be?
Exactly. And here's the thing about it is, what's going to be the prize? Okay, so if he gets found guilty, I get a prize. I get to go to Hawaii and he goes to prison. Sounds good to me. If Virgil's right, he gets to go to Hawaii and he can take Mr. Kohberger with him and they can share a motel room if he believes in his innocence that much.
But he's not saying that. He's just saying, he just obviously making some statement that, he's probably heard from other people, you know. So it's all good, Virgil. Go
It's all
check
good,
that out.
Virgil.
It's a good video. It's a good video. It's a long video, and I can tell you that there's a lot discussed in that video. That's like a that's like the Idaho 4 case by 3 creators. You know what I mean? We all got together and we streamed on each other's platforms and stuff. So we were having a
And
good
by the
old time
way,
that night.
in that live, did we not catch was there not a part of that video or Jeff's video or somebody's video that had the green car leaving and we could see the front end really good?
Yeah, Jeff showed us that one.
Because I've gone through there and I can't find it and I need that.
It's toward the end of the where Jeff was talking about the overlays. It's
Right.
right before that little portion because he said he got it from JLR. Had that green
Yes.
Elantra go by
Thank
him,
you. Thank you.
and that's where that's where he got the screenshot. But it's that car is clear. CJ
No,
got
it ain't. It's green.
he got an awesome shot that whole night. I mean, I give that man the cameraman of the year for that. The video that we watched that night. You know what I mean? So
And it
it's
was so
interesting.
funny because Gage was like, "That's that green car." I'm going back again. That's that green car. Wait a minute.
Yeah,
Let's watch that again.
I know exactly. I was like, "Oh my God, Nina, do you know what you got in this video?" And then you're like, "Well, I cut it off right here." What? What were you doing? What were you doing?
Well, I
Why
didn't
did you
know
cut?
2 years later we were going to be hunting a green car.
Oh my God, it's like looking for a needle in a haystack sometimes. Hey, Moonvale, thank you for being here. Thank you for being here. Um, let's see what Mountain Mama's saying. I
Hey,
listened to a
Mountain
lot of
Mama.
I listen to a lot of different channels because I want to hear their perspective. I don't agree with them most of the time, but I still listen. And sometimes I chuckle at what they believe. Well, you don't have to leave, Virgil. Nobody's running
Oh,
you off.
I hope
Nobody's
I didn't
running you off.
offend him. I would never. Look, come to my channel and let me offend you because I would never do it on Gage's.
Yeah, you don't have to leave, Virgil. You're in a good spot. You're
I
in a good spot.
apologize.
You don't have to leave at all. Everybody's welcome here. Because you know what? The last thing I want people to say is that I cuss them out and throw them out.
Or call him a bitch.
As most of you have noticed, I don't cuss a lot on my lives.
He waits till he gets
If
on my
I
channel.
do, if I if I do cuss, it is on other people's panels for sure. I very seldom do cuss on mine, but I do. I'm no saint. Everybody has those moments. You know what I mean? We all have that capacity. The reason that I do it is I hate people lying about me, or slandering my name. And there's this channel that I've been getting into it with, and I was gonna address that last night, but like I said, you know,
God sent a tornado.
what did Jeff say? Um, a soft answer turns away wrath, right?
God said, "Screw the soft answer. I'm sending a tornado."
Right, I'm gonna send 2 tornadoes. There was 2 tornadoes.
He ain't gonna listen. I gotta show strength.
Right. Oh, that's cool. That's cool, Virgil. Well, we're happy that you came. You're more than welcome to keep coming back. Hey, Kel.
And Virgil, if you want a list of the channels you can listen to, we'll give you a list too.
Nina, what's the name of that mountain you said the wall mural was? 'Cause I'm
Wait
interested
a
in
minute.
finding out.
Hang on, my dog.
She said it was Mount Rainier. You ran Leslie off. Where the hell is Leslie? Where the hell did Leslie go? Hey, John, thank you for the email yesterday, buddy. I appreciated that. And today. I still didn't find what I was looking for, but I'm sure that if I look long enough, I'll find it. Those videos were pretty detailed on your channel. Um, you have a lot of good stuff on there that's still relevant today, if not more. You know. So Hopefully, I'll find that little clip. And it's good to see you in here again. Nina's
And
taking care of.
I do apologize if I ran Leslie and Virgil off.
I don't think you ran Leslie off. I think she had to go do something. See, here's your answer to the Zoom. I'm going to put this on panel. That way everybody sees it. I trust Viviana. So I'm gonna put what she says. If I had $1 for every time I heard a person lie in the last 2 weeks and say Hitler was gonna let Dylan and Bethany testify via Zoom, I would be a millionaire. No, he never said they would testify via Zoom. He said they will not show their faces during the public live stream while they are on the stand. The end of that. The end of that. You see how easy that is, Dana? You're on mute. I've been on Detective John's show. That's where I got my start. And Jeff H was on there too for a little bit. um, I don't know how to get in touch with her. Is that Truth? Or is that the other one? Hey, Truth, I'm going to send you an email and I'm going to tell you what I'm looking for. That way I can clip it. Because I want to put that in the... I want to put that in a short. Okay. Well, I don't know her real name sometimes. Nina, where'd you go? Okay, I guess Nina stepped out for a minute. I guess I can show something. Do y'all believe that? Do y'all believe that? I hate to even discuss some of this stuff, but I'm going to ask this question. Um, do you believe that Kohberger wanted to get caught? Because this is a hot question too. Do you believe that the knife sheath was the smoking gun? Because I did a live on that yesterday or the day before. Do you believe that Kohberger wanted to get caught? Do you think that the mistakes he made were on purpose, or do you believe that he was just that inefficient? Yeah, that's exactly what I want. Truth, what Texas said. Okay,
Well, why are you asking the chat? There are a bunch of idiots that you have in there all the time.
that's what they've been told, right? Oh, 100% he did. Yeah, that's what my chat's been called, a bunch of idiots. Like, I only have 20 of them, so
The same old idiots every time.
yeah, the same old idiots every time.
I took offense to that because I'm one of those idiots.
This from a little wine pinky out, wine glass drinking person. Have you ever heard of a man drinking wine out of a wine glass like that, Nina? Is that a thing?
Well, first of all, I want to see it.
I'm from Texas. We drink bourbon, we drink beer. Men don't drink wine out of glasses. If I was to drink some,
He's proud to be an idiot.
if we're gonna drink wine, we're gonna chug it from the box. We ain't
Hell
gonna
yeah.
drink it.
I'm from Alabama. We drink our tequila from the bottle. What you talking about?
Right?
And we look, I don't do that whole lemon and salt. Screw that. Just give me the tequila.
Well, that's what I'm
I get
saying.
too I get
If
too
I'm gonna drink the
confused.
wine, if I'm gonna
I
drink the
get
wine,
too
I'm gonna chug
confused.
it
Do
out of the
you
box. I'm gonna chug it out of the box.
I get too confused. Do you lick the salt and suck the lemon or suck the salt and lick the lemon?
I don't do any sucking, Nina, so I just drink it straight from the bottle. There's no sucking salt or nothing. It's
Oh my gosh, you're just an idiot.
I guess so. I'm the leader of the idiots, obviously.
Well, that's all right. I'm like your right hand gal here, so
Look at this statement. Shit, in Alabama, they're still drinking Mad Dog.
oh, Mad Dog 2020. Ooh, let me tell you, that was my first drunk.
Wild Irish Rose. Good
Oh
Lord.
wow. I
Wild
have
Irish
actually
Rose.
I've graduated from Mad Dog. Well, I don't know. I did Fireball tonight, so
You know what? If Mad Dog is still $2.39, I'd be impressed.
oh, I got to know now.
I'm serious. Like $2.39. It used to be $2.45 with tax. Don't ask me how I know that.
Mad Dog 2020.
But seriously, I'm from Texas. We're from the South. I don't know anybody that drinks wine that's a man from a wine glass with the pinky up. Do you?
Oh, you don't forget laying out by your pool.
Yeah.
$4.88.
What? Great Mad Dog did me in one night. Never again. Oh, Mad Dog the worst.
Oh,
I
wait
got
a
so
minute.
sick of him.
Let's see. Mad Dog 2020 Electric Melon you can get for $3.19.
There we go. There we go. I don't think he wanted to get caught. I think he wanted to commit the crime so badly he made dumb mistakes. I'm with you on that. I puked a gallon of Mad Dog up. Wow.
Yeah, I've pooped up
I
2
don't drink
gallons in
any.
our.
I don't drink anymore, but I'm just saying. Back when I was drinking, never. I couldn't even drink champagne.
And Truth, I put the name of Mount Shookson in chat, so I didn't know if you saw it or not.
Yeah, that's what is Mad Dog of wine. Yeah, it's
Mad Dog
MD
is Mad
MD
Dog is made from
2020.
leftover radiator water.
Yeah, I'm sorry. We got off cue there a little
Yeah,
bit.
reel yourself back in, Gage. Stay on topic.
Do y'all believe that Brian Kohberger wanted to get caught? I got one that he made too many mistakes. Do you believe he wanted to get caught, Nina?
You know, part of me says that he left the sheath on purpose. And the reason I say that is because that would have made him so superior because he really felt that he had wiped everything off of it. Because I honestly believe that when he was sitting there fantasizing about how it was going to go down, that he was sitting there flipping the snap open, shut, and that's how so many skin cells got in there. And I mean, so many times he's sitting there and I'm watching him and I'm like, yeah, I bet you're sitting there going, damn, I can't believe I missed that one little spot or I wouldn't be sitting in this chair.
Okay. I didn't even see that. It's been going so fast. Sorry, John. He said he wanted to cover his own case and his curriculum based their theories on truths which he only knew. Grade accordingly.
See,
Yeah, that's what. Go
to
ahead.
me, it's a win-win either way because if he gets caught, then everybody knows who he is and everybody is watching Brian Kohberger. If he doesn't get caught, then he's better than Ted Bundy. So it's a win-win. The problem I have is how long do you think it would have took him for it to drive him crazy that he was the only one that knew he didn't get caught?
Right. I believe that he just wasn't that good of a criminal. I mean, this is what people have been fixated on the fact he's a criminology major, he's a criminal justice major. Like I've said before, many miles of lives. He didn't start doing that until his master's program. So he was fixated on psychology at Northampton, at DeSales, and not until he got to WSU that he, or no, when he went to get his master's, he transitioned into criminal justice. So he wasn't in the criminal justice realm very long. And like the video that I played a while ago, while he was at DeSales, when he transitioned into the master's program, he wasn't allowed to use the crime house or the lab because he was doing it virtually. So all those people that say he learned how to be a criminal by going to those places, obviously not. What do you think about that, Nina?
He never went to the crime house because the classes that he was taking didn't justify him going to the crime house. I mean, the classes that he was taking at the time were more like social sciences and stuff like that.
It wasn't for cloud forensic his specialty.
Hell no.
That's what it is.
He still had 3 years to even graduate. He was not this big old expert like everybody thinks.
Well, I know that, but wasn't cloud forensics going to be the area of his expertise once he graduated PhD?
That's what his big dream was.
Yeah. That's what his dream was, right?
Yeah, but he didn't make it.
3 watching. What that mean? Who's that? Offset Guitar Tech? 3 watching. There's more than 3 watching, buddy. I don't know what you're watching, but there's more than 3 watching.
What are you talking about?
Leslie and Billy's back. Okay, I'm back. So the state of Idaho, there's no law that says you have to call 911, but if you're not involved in the crime. But if you're involved in the crime, you better call. That's what Idaho says. Okay. I don't know what he's talking about. He just says 3 watching. I don't know what that means. But I think we talked pretty much everything to death tonight. I've been on here for 2 hours and 22 minutes. If you came in late, there's a lot of stuff in the beginning that I discussed. There's a lot yesterday that I discussed by myself. I was discussing the psychological portion of a lot of it. 12, so in other words, you're right. Darn it. I took a year of psychology and started figuring out that most of my family was nuts, so I switched to accounting. That's probably the smartest thing, When you start messing with the brain, you realize that a lot of people that you know, including yourself, it says you have 3 people in your life on my channel. No, I have 25. I don't know. Whose channel are you watching? Nina's?
And here's the thing. Yeah, probably 3 on mine. But you know what? Those 3 are just important as 3,000.
Yeah. Exactly. Mount Rainier pic showing why I thought it was the same mountain. So Truth, if you remember where that statement is made in those videos or which video it is, I'd appreciate it if you email me. It is about that comment and I want to clip it out. Or if you want to clip it out and just send it to me, I'd appreciate it.
Oh, heck, I didn't know you wanted that. I've got all kind of clips for you then.
Yeah. Good night and hope Truth finds that clip for you. Yeah, I'm going to send you a video I made that I didn't get to show last night. Don't be a stranger. That's true. Don't be a stranger, man.
I want to see it.
If it keeps going, I'll show it. If not, I'll just put it in the shorts and everybody can see it.
Is it the
No,
one? Is it the one you sent me?
no, it's a video.
Oh, okay. I
It's
thought
a
you saw.
video and it has a lot of stuff in it. But you know what? Those of you that hung in there with us tonight, thank you so much for that. Thank you for being here. I hope to see you again soon. I did make a new intro, so I'm going to show it at the end. Nina, if you want to stay a minute after.
Okay.
I
Y'all,
get up
I'm
there.
going live I'm going to do some what is that? Selfless promotion or whatever. I'm going live at 12:05.
All right. Y'all go over there and check Nina out. I'll be asleep by then. All right. Maestro, cue that music.
Welcome to 12-Page Investigative.
In the shadows where the truth hides deep, echoes of the lost and the secrets they keep. Cold cases burn in the back of your mind. We dig through the dark, one clue at a time. This ain't fiction, this is blood, this is truth.